Let me begin by saying I know there are millions of Americans in this country who feel disappointed and discouraged or even a little bit angry about the court's decision today on student debt. And I must admit I do too. What I did I thought was appropriate and was able to be done and would get done. I didn't give Boris false hope, but the Republicans snatched away the hope.
That was President Biden on Friday reacting to the Supreme Court's decision to scrap his student loan plan. We are joined now by Congressman Khanna of California, a leading House progressive. Thank you and happy 4th of July, Congressman Khanna. So we've heard from the White House that they are going to now pursue an alternative means of trying to provide some help for people saddled with student debt, working through the Higher Education Act. The president said that's going to take time. Do you think the White House is doing enough?
John, I am pleased that the White House is invoking the Higher Education Act. As you know, Justice Roberts explicitly said in the opinion that the opinion has no bearing on the Higher Education Act. I do hope that the White House will make sure that the interest doesn't accrue starting in September. I know the president has said he isn't going to refer students to the credit agency. I also believe under the Higher Education Act, he can stop the interest accrual.
You've called for a total pause in payments, as I understand. Have you expressed that to the White House?
I have, John. I mean, you have all of these students who have relied on a promise that they are going to have their student loans forgiven. I had to take out $150,000 of student loans. There were times in my life where I had to have a forbearance. I'm fortunate now and been able to pay them off, but this is a real hardship. And when people out there are saying that they are relying on this, we should at least pause it until that is forgiven, especially when we have a Supreme Court who, in my view, has usurped the authority of Congress. Look, the Congress passed the HEROES Act. If you believe that Congress gave the president too much authority under the HEROES Act, then the solution is Congress can repeal the HEROES Act. But Justice Roberts and his court shouldn't be overturning the will of Congress just because they think Congress gave too much power to the president.
But the argument that the court's making is that the HEROES Act does not give the president the authority to rewrite student loans. In fact, this was a position essentially that was taken by Nancy Pelosi. I know you've called for the president to forgive $50,000 in student debt through executive action. Take a look at what Nancy Pelosi had to say about that just 2 years ago.
People think that the president of the United States has the power for debt forgiveness. He does not. He can postpone, he can delay, but he does not have that power. That has to be an act of Congress.
And the Supreme Court decision quoted those words.
Speaker Pelosi took that position before the president asked for a legal analysis on the HEROES Act. When you look at the analysis of the HEROES Act, it says specifically that the president and the secretary have the authority to cancel or amend, to waive or amend the student loans. There was an analysis done that the secretary has that authority. He has to, over a certain amount, get the approval of the attorney general. And the speaker said after she looked at that legal analysis, it was clear to her that under the HEROES Act, the administration did have that authority. Now, we can have an argument that the HEROES Act passed in 2003 in the wake shortly after 9/11 was way too broad in giving that kind of authority to the president and the secretary. I don't believe it was the case. That's a legitimate argument. The place to make that argument is in the United States Congress. It's not for unelected justices to override what Congress has passed, and that's what this court is doing. It's very dangerous. They are basically reinterpreting congressional statute to fit their ideological preconceptions.
And Congressman, I want to ask you about the latest developments in the Hunter Biden case. As you know, the House has, Republicans in the House have released testimony of this IRS whistleblower, saying that he's got evidence that, in fact, the contention that that decisions are being made by the U.S. was being made by the U.S. attorney in Delaware and not by the attorney general is not true. That ultimately it was the attorney general, the main justice, deciding this. Are you concerned about what's coming out of this case?
John, no. I mean, let's just review the facts here. You had President Trump appoint a U.S. attorney in Delaware, and President Biden had the ability to fire that U.S. attorney if he wanted, as is customary. The new president comes in, they remove all the U.S. attorneys. President Biden didn't fire the U.S. attorney. He had his past opponent's appointee have total power over making a decision on Hunter Biden.
But sir, what the whistleblower is saying is that Weiss, who was appointed by Trump, said that he was not the deciding official on this case. If that turns out to be true, doesn't that directly contradict what the Attorney General has said?
But Weiss is not saying that. Isn't the source Weiss? I mean, if Weiss was saying that, I would have a concern. If Weiss was out there saying, I didn't have total authority, there was interference. But Weiss is the key person, and he's not saying that. And there were charges that were pursued.
Thank you very much for joining us. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Appreciate your time.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.